What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. The other day I did a video on the 15-year-old kid in San Jose that was killed on Valentine's Day, taking his girl out on Valentine's Day, having a date with this girl, and these Southerners rushed him and beat him up, and then they took off running. And then another one, allegedly a 13-year-old kid, jumped on him and stabbed him through the heart, and the kid, the 15-year-old, wound up dying. And this video might be a little bit all over the place, but I've been getting a lot of comments on that video. They keep popping up, and I'm being told a lot that in the Bay Area and up north, you have to be careful what you wear. And raza from Southern California, to us, that is very foreign. In Southern California, raza can wear any color they want. Colors don't mean anything to us down here. What can get you in trouble is sports logos. Doesn't matter what color it is. If you wear a certain thing, a certain sports team in a certain area, you're gonna get jammed up, right? I don't know if they do that up north, if they have the logos, or even specific teams. But down here, it's that, right? And that would be a trip, man. Like, even the Crips and Bloods nowadays, I don't think trip as much on colors. I remember in the 80s, that was a thing. We were always hearing about how, I remember being in Riverside, and I remember going to Castle Park and seeing, the blue, or the British Knight stuff, and it was different. It was serious. Not that it's not serious now. It's just different. But I can't imagine, like, raza, like, I don't know. I guess it's similar as far as down here, the sports teams and stuff. But more than anything, I'm more focused on this whole thing that if anyone under the age of 14 can't be incarcerated in a lockdown facility. And I don't see how that law benefits kids. I could see where they say, anyone under the age of 14, or even anyone under the age of 15 can't get a life sentence. I could see that. But if 13-year-olds and 12-year-olds can't get locked down, then that is going to encourage people to get their younger homies to do the heavy work. And think about that. Not everyone is capable mentally of compartmentalizing taking someone's life. So if you're encouraging a 12 or 13-year-old, because most dudes get in their neighborhood at 12 or 13, if you're encouraging them at that age to start catching bodies, that could create monsters. And then when you have a law that when they catch them, they can't lock them down, I'm in my head trying to figure out, is that worse than opening up facilities like the California Youth Authority and having them do some time and hopefully realize something? Is that worse? Because I was in the California Youth Authority, and I know what it was. I have to say that, in my own personal opinion, and you guys let me know your opinion in the comment section, in my own personal opinion, based on my life experiences, I feel like we do need the California Youth Authority back. However, it can't be what it was. I believe there should be facilities reopened, and not one single facility can be opened to wards until the staff is trained. They have clinicians that are trained. They have strict oversight. That the wards know that they have an appeal system, a grievance system, know how to use it, and if need be, there would be certain staff assigned to assist an inmate or a ward in filing their grievances. Because when I was in the California Youth Authority, there was a grievance system. We just didn't know about it. And staff were there for the paycheck. The GSs, which are the ones that dress like the CDC officers, they're there for security. They didn't give a damn. The YCs, who are the youth counselors, I don't know what type of training they got. They would be willing to fight you, and so would the GSs. Fights were encouraged. People getting punked was encouraged by certain cops that didn't like certain wards. It was a breeding ground for hate and sociopathy. I believe it created monsters. But what do we have on the other hand right now? And I know there's going to be people, probably, the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, they wouldn't agree with me. I would think some of them wouldn't. But a lot of the Anti-Recidivism Coalition are ex-lifers, man. And we know the only reason why we changed is because we had to sit down and realize we were the problem. If you have kids who believe everything outside of themselves is the reason why they're a gang member, they're using drugs, they're drinking, they're shooting, stabbing, killing, robbing. If we have a group of kids that believe the whole world is the reason why they do those things, they have no incentive to change. If they get sent back home for doing something that bad, they have no incentive to change. And so what do we do? As a society, what do we do? I was talking to someone today and they were telling me about actually this case. And this person was telling me that they felt bad for the 13-year-old because they had read that the 13-year-old was like a 5th or 7th generation Southerner, right? And that kid had no other choice. And I disagree. Because I am willing to bet there are other people in that same exact family that probably don't gangbang. I know all of us that did gangbang, we all know dudes that grew up in the same neighborhood, maybe even had a brother that one of the brothers was gangbanging and the other one was like, fuck that. I ain't fucking with that shit. I am one that I do not believe that your surroundings are 100% dictating the outcome. I don't. I believe some of us just don't have the right coping mechanism as a kid. And we look for love in the wrong places. I did that. I looked for love in the streets. I looked for family in the streets. I looked for strength in the streets. Other kids looked at the streets like, hell nah, I don't want to be out there. I don't want to be running from cops. I don't want to be getting in fights and having to carry knives and guns and getting shot at or stabbed or having to. There's people that were like that and they were a lot smarter than me and have had a better chance at life. I luckily got this second opportunity. And thousands have. But when you see a case like this, my concern, as I said in my last video about this, I hope it doesn't cause a knee-jerk reaction where it affects the adults that are in the CDC right now that are really doing all the work, necessary work, in order to get out and become productive members of society, productive men and women reentering society. This is an issue that is dealing with juveniles. And we have to have something different. We can't just say, well, you know what, he's 13, he's got to go home and, we'll send him to some counseling. No. The kid needs to sit down and be taken away from that environment, but also it cannot be what YA was before. Don't even name it the California Youth Authority. Name it something else. But there needs to be accountability. I believe laws like this, and I wasn't even aware of it. I believe laws like this will create a generation of a certain type of individual if it's not nipped in the bud in time. And, it reminds me of, I had a buddy that was, he's from MS, right? Mara Salvatrucha. And he was one of the guys that came over in the 80s from El Salvador. And he was involved in the warfare over there as a kid. And he told me that as a child, as a kid, they gave him a puppy. They gave him a puppy. And for 6 months, they told him, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, that puppy has to stay with you. You don't let anything happen to that puppy. If you only got a little bit of food and it's between you and the puppy, you feed that damn puppy. But you don't let nothing happen to this puppy. And he said he did that for 6 months. And when the 6 months were over, they told him, kill it. They gave him a knife and told him, kill it. And he was forced to do that. And then they told him, you see what you feel right now? Don't ever get attached to anything or you'll feel that again. You don't want to feel that, right? Don't be attached to shit. And that was a way to create the ability to kill and the ability to disassociate. And when we have kids, if we're going to have this law in California where kids can commit the ultimate crime and then go home, it kind of reminds me of the homie story and the puppy. And in this instance, society is the puppy. And the kid will learn that he can disassociate. And he will see that people are not people. I know for a fact because I didn't place value on my own life back then, so I couldn't place value on somebody else's. I didn't place value on my own, and I knew I was more important than them. If that makes sense. In my childish mind, that made perfect sense. Anyways, man, that's my video for today. I'm interested to see what you guys have to say in the comment section. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.